no idea what they may be capable of.
Now just step away from the dog, you little brat. I promise to make this quick and painless.
Tell me, wannabe heroes, can you rescue people and fight at the same time? No more games. First, I'll stop the wind! Got him! Hey! You reap what you sow.
Before we get started, I just want to allow my guests the opportunity to introduce themselves, basically tell everybody who you are and what you do, and also tell us your top 2 favorite animated movies and why you like them.
Okay. Hey, I'm Tyler Walker. I am a voice actor, voice of this guy here, Bond in Spy Family. I also did Gang Orca and My Hero Academia and Kojiro Bondo, 2 very different characters in that show. But the majority of my career has been directing and writing anime. I've done and engineering. So I've worked on thousands of episodes at this point, directing for about 13 years for Funimation, writing for the past 8 or so years for Crunchyroll, and then some overlap, and then some other things. I got started after getting a degree in radio, TV, film from the University of North Texas. I've kind of always gravitated towards being like in something kind of creative. I, worked on a TV crew when I was in junior high. I was on stage and plays and choir and stuff as a kid, and band, and then I played in bands, and just really I've always liked being performing and being part of a group and part of an ensemble, and kind of finding my own place in that. Through directing, I've had some great opportunities to work on some amazing shows like Fairy Tale, and Bakano, Black Cat, Basilisk, just tons of others over the years, and had the opportunity to work with a lot of very talented people and learn from them and help them grow their careers, which has been pretty interesting and very gratifying to see. And my top 2 animated movies, let's see. Well, I think, when I was younger, I liked that movie, that French movie, Fantastic Planet. Not really a dialogue-driven one, but it's just very, and I kind of, for me, non-dialogue stuff is a little bit of a break, because if I'm like thinking about like writing and performing and like kind of looking at mouth movements and stuff, like there's a it kind of is distracting, and sometimes kind of hard to watch things strictly for pleasure, right? Because you're like trying to figure out, what's going on with everything, and kind of you're trying to kind of break it down in a way. And so things that are kind of removed from that are much more enjoyable. That being said, it's not like my favorite movie, but we did see the new Mario Galaxy movie yesterday in 3D. Okay. And it was like being on a ride. It was so fun. Those kind of movies, we saw the first one at home, and like I remember saying, like, I wish we'd seen this in the theater in 3D. And so yesterday, my wife Heather and I, who's also a writer at a Crunchyroll and a fellow voice actor, we went and saw that, and I was pretty dizzy afterwards, but it was a good time. So like kind of the visceral feeling, you can just kind of get it, and of course, being growing up playing the games and stuff, I could see. It's like interesting how they integrate kind of the history of the franchise into this new form of animation. But I gotta say, there's a lot of good things out there. Of course, I loved the spy movie, Code White. For sure. Yeah, let me just plug that. And but generally, like I said, like some things that really take that visual element, have that be the forefront. For me, it's a way to kind of take a break and not be so analytical about things, because that can really sometimes kind of ruin the fun,
For sure, for sure. And I can agree with that. I will say when you say you like to listen to movies, do you like listening without the audio, or is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just saying like things that don't have a lot of dialogue. You know, for a while, like I was directing during the day, right? So 10 to 6 every day I was directing, you know, so having to deal with mouth flaps and performances and all that kind of stuff and casting and blah, blah, blah. And then over the weekends, I was writing scripts. And so I was always kind of in work mode. So, you know, for a while, I really enjoyed watching silent movies, you know, or like black and white silent movies, just because like that was the farthest from what I had anything to do with it. I don't know. It's interesting, you know, learning from, you know, watching performances and learning from that is always good, but kind of like, I don't know, taking a break and enjoying other aspects of the art of the medium that we work in, you know. And of course, you know, before working at Funimation, you know, I'd watched the Ghibli movies like Princess Mononoke and like Triplets of Belleville before that, and kind of some different things that are a little bit outside of the bread and butter stuff we do, but very, very interesting, big stories and like fantastical worlds, and just a lot to look at, because you can do things in animation, of course, that you can't really do in real life. So
For sure,
you know,
for sure.
when people really take that opportunity, it's very gratifying, you know.
Okay. Well, that's interesting that you went to go see the next 2 Super Mario movie. That's something that's on my list to go see. My little brother asked me to go see it with him last week, so it's been on my list to go see.
I would see it in 3D
for sure.
If you, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, because like there's this one scene in particular where it gets very disorienting, and it's like being on a kind of like a roller coaster, and like, you know, things come at you. But you know, the thing about the digital 3D is like there's so much depth of field. Like you can see, like it's like you can see farther into the movie, you know, into the frame.
Do you feel like 3D animation has gotten better?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Because they kind of learned about that far back stuff became kind of more important, I think. I mean, it's kind of been that way for a while, but the digital animation really can shine in that kind of thing without having to do the tricks of like, you know, something coming at the screen all the time.
Okay.
Although they do that.
For sure.
I mean, the story's fine, but you know, just the eye candy and the feeling of like going on this ride is, you know, that's an experience, you know. It's something that can't be like replicated at home.
Yeah, I thought the first one was good. It had one of my favorite actors in there, Jack Black. So
yeah,
he did amazing as Browser. And
actually, he's great.
He's actually in one of my top 2 favorite animated movies. Let me go ahead and list mine real quick.
Okay.
For my first one, I chose Kung Fu Panda because I think Jack Black is amazing as Po. I love the whole martial arts element to the movie and Asian themes to the movie and everything, and the whole never judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
For my second one, I chose Bleach: The Diamond Dust Rebellion, one of my favorite movies to go and rewatch. It's not like one of Bleach primary movies. Like, this not a movie most times Bleach fans will tell you to go watch, but it's one of my favorite. I feel like we're all allowed to have our little cult classics, so it's one of my favorite. It's a movie mainly focused on Hisagaya, one of the main Bleach captains. He's the ice captain. It basically tells you your past never rests type thing.
Okay. Huh.
All right.
I don't really know much about that show, but like,
Bleach is amazing. You definitely got to check it out.
I know people love it, and it's, you know, it's one of the big ones, right? It's one of the, you know, the big three.
Yeah. But before we kind of get into our interview, I kind of just want to ask you, what are you watching? Are you playing or listening to? Anything you want to recommend to anybody right now? Or
well, I've been playing Baldur's Gate. And some friends of mine. We were in a band together. This band called Odelatron.
Rock
and kinda. We did. I don't know. It's
indie.
Yeah, I guess indie. We did. During the pandemic, we did a big like 50 something song album, kind of remotely. But me and the guys, are still good friends, and we've been playing Baldur's Gate, but we've missed the past couple of weeks. But we were doing a Baldur's Gate campaign, which is kind of fun. And that was because I think we were playing Night Rain before that. If you played that, Elden Ring, Night Rain.
Mhm.
And I was so terrible at that I was like, please guys, because they could play. I don't know what the deal was. They could play, and I was just like, I'm coming, and they would beat somebody, and I'd show up and then get killed instantly. And it's like, I tried to play Elden Ring, and it's just so hard.
You were just
and
there
like,
for the ride.
yeah, it was fun, but like, they're also two top tier musicians. So I'm like, can we just have equal footing like on something? I played keyboards in that band, and that was my first time to really do that.
Okay.
And they were definitely in their elements. But
you were able to get there, weren't you?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I know.
Let's not talk down about ourselves.
I know
man.
about faking it. Yeah. But I brought whatever I brought, and that's I knew where I fit inside the ensemble, which is kind of like always been like what I'm trying to figure out, whether I need to be lead on certain things or fall back on certain things, or just do follow along, try to add what I can to something without taking anything away, and that's kind of part of being part of a larger creative team, I think.
For sure. Are there any movies or TV shows you watched recently?
Well, we're big.
I know you talked about the Mario movie, but anything else to say?
We're big. We watched some kind of weird. I mean, we loved like David Lynch and stuff like that, and we
Is that
were
horror?
watching. No, he's like a surrealist kind of mystery.
Okay, mystery.
It's like art house stuff,
Okay.
because before I got into anime, I was into film theory and stuff like that, and so
Okay.
and so watching a lot of movies, kind of art house movies, are what I enjoy. But now I'll see a lot of different things. We watched The Rehearsal, which is kind of like it's kind of a meta show. I don't know. It's another kind of art house thing, but it's like it's kind of like a reality show, but like the thing is like, say, like the whole setup is that people do things in life, and what if they could practice them before they were going to do a hard thing, like before they were going to reveal their big secret, or before they were going to talk to their brother about a problem that they had. The show is like they set up a scenario that mimics that, and they help the person through it, so when they do the real thing, it works out. It's kind of a
That's interesting.
it's a hard thing to kind of condense, but I like kind of absurdist, kind of off the wall stuff. Going back to, we were talking about watching things and kind of critiquing them, or like being sort of still in work mode. I remember when Squid Game came out, I was very excited about it, because it seemed like, that's that people had talked about it, and it seemed interesting. And it was very hard for me to watch the dub of it, because I was so preoccupied with like the lip movements and the dialogue and the who was cast and doing what, that it was kind of hard. Like I felt like when I put it into the Korean language, I could clock out of work and just watch it, but that's how it goes, because
So do you feel like when you're watching something dub, you're like trying to break down who's in it, whose voice this is, instead of just watching it?
Yeah. Because like my whole thing, like, okay, so like even like shows that I would direct.
Are you listening into it to like improve it, or you're like?
I'm just hardwired to do it. I mean, I've been in that kind of position for like 20 something years now. I started
like
at Funimation being an engineer in 2002. Right.
Okay.
So that was quite a while ago.
So did you start off as a voice actor, or were you doing something else and then
I came in on as an engineer. So I was the guy who was recording the dialogue and who was editing the dialogue inside Pro Tools, cleaning things up, capturing the sound, trying to get good clean sound files and that kind of stuff. So, and then trying to match the lip flaps, because that's a big part of our job, is matching the lip flaps. And so it gets you hardwired to kind of focus in on these things. And then as a director, you're always thinking about choices that you can make, or like, even like if I'm enjoying something, it's like, sometimes you'll hear somebody and it'll be like, oh yeah, that, so-and-so is actually like a woman and not like a little boy, I can use them for other things. And you're just you're thinking about it because that's what you're supposed to do. So even like shows that I would direct, like say I'd written the script, even directed the anime, been in it, done whatever. And then, when you do what we call your booth review or your mix review, to kind of look for the right environments or the right deliveries or whatever like that. Like if I would just enjoyed it and then sat back and enjoyed it, I was like, well, I guess I got to watch that again and try to like find something to change or to make better or to correct. Or so kind of hardwired to do that after decades of being in the industry. But I have calmed down a little bit about it, and especially if it's not my show, you can kind of just like watch things like my wife Heather, her shows, I can look at them and see.
It's kind of hard to tell your wife that she could do better.
No, just like I mean, so there's just kind of a it's a constructive criticism or a critiquing kind of mind, and it just does get a little, sometimes you just want to like just watch some popcorn or just eye candy,
it can be hard
just
to turn
like
off.
relax. Get a break. But that's the thing about working in media and entertainment. There's so many different factors behind it, and when you start to like kind of know how the sausage is made, so they say, like things are a little different with that kind of knowledge.
So what has been your path? So it sounds like you went from engineer. So did you go engineer to directing, or did you go engineering to voice acting? And what contribute to those movements? Well,
so yeah, when I started, I liked recording, and I'd studied post-production sound, and I was, playing in bands pretty regularly, and recording and doing all that kind of stuff. And so I came in through that way, being in the booth and then doing editing. And then a situation came up. I worked with some great directors over the years, with like Mike McFarlane and Colin
Master Roshi.
Yeah, and some others. And it got to see, and Justin Cook, and got to see how things were done, and got to know the actors and see the process. And a situation an opportunity came up, actually, and this is kind of an interesting story. One of the guys who was a director at that time got the call to be in Ringo Starr, from the Beatles, his backing band, and they were going to go on a world tour. So he's like, okay, I'm going to do that, and leave Funimation behind. But there was an empty director spot coming up, and me being, if you could believe it, young at the time, I was, interested in furthering my career, and I felt like I had a good grasp on kind of what to do and what not to do in a session. And during that time as an engineer, I had done a little bit of voice acting as well. There's some stuff for Baki the Grappler. I was in the first Full Metal Alchemist series and some other kind of stuff. And so after about 2.5 years, 3 years of being an engineer, I moved up to directing, and some other voice acting opportunities came from that. I also then some more opportunities came up, and I got the to say it again, the opportunity to write scripts. I signaled my interest in that. Talked to the right person, who was actually someone I went to college with, and so I already had some pre-existing connections at Funimation.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got to write, and during that time I also got to produce. And so I was kind of looking for things, and I was interested in a lot of different aspects of production, on both sides of the mic. You know, I liked sitting in on mixes. I liked, you know, seeing scheduling happen. I liked auditioning. I liked writing. I liked directing, and all of it, you know, different opportunities presented themselves at different times, and I tried to navigate my way that was best for me and my family, you know. So, but I just tried to keep an open mind and really
kind of test everything out.
Yeah, and thought about like building out my toolbox, right? You know, because like you want, if you know, to have a good toolbox, you want to know how to use more than just a hammer, you know.
For sure.
Yeah, you have different, you know, tools you can use and different strategies you can use, and you know, you want to be a utility person. You know,
Okay.
I'd like to be well versed in a lot of things, and so I've had a lot of amazing opportunities over the years to do that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And I was never shy about like kind of letting that be known. So,
Well, that just goes with the theme of like, because we hear so many different stories about different voice actors, and everybody's route to becoming in the field has always been different. So kind of hearing your story is different, because I always tell people it don't seem like there's one straight path to being a voice actor.
No,
literally can do anything, and it seems like you can kind of get into the field.
Yeah, but some actors you may meet, if you're a director, you may meet them somewhere at a convention. You may see them in a play, all that kind of stuff, you know, and like it's kind of the constant audition. Although I'm admittedly kind of terrible at submitting auditions. I don't know why that is, but you know, I was always pretty proactive in signaling my interest, but I can drag my feet on auditions from time to time.
I can feel you,
because I know the competition is so strong. You know, we're just in such a different world than we were when I started.
Yeah,
we didn't have Goku at Macy's Day Parade. You couldn't go down to, you know, the local grocery store and see like people selling a show that you may be in. You know, selling shirts or merchandise or whatever.
Yeah, anime has taken over, especially ever since the pandemic and everything.
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, yeah. And when when they sent us home that last day, because I was in the office on March 13th, 2020. I was like, oh man, this is weird, but thank God we work in streaming escapism. You know, like
sure.
I think we have, you know, if we can just hang on to that. And those were kind of difficult times, you know, for everyone. But
yeah, at least anime was able to still keep kind of working, and
we were very lucky in that regard. And the company really facilitated people being able to work during that time. You know, they sent us recording packages, they sent us stuff to record with at home and all that kind of stuff. So, and we had a whole new system that the engineers and audio guys at Crunchyroll or Funimation at the time really helped organize.
Mm-hmm. Before we jump into our interview, I just want to round off on the stuff we recommend. I just been recently getting into a lot of stand-up comedy, which has always been typically my first love until I got into anime. Then stand-up kind of went to the backseat a little bit. But I recently got done watching a special, new special with Bruce, Bill Burr, and Kevin Hart, and all three of them were great. I will list the names of them. They'll be below because I can't think exactly all the names of them. I remember Bill Burr's was Paper Tiger. Oh yeah, it was hilarious. I loved Bill Burr. I love his whole ranting type of style of comedy. Yeah, and then Kevin Hart, I think this last special was better than the one he did before, because I was a little getting off of Kevin Hart, but he did pretty good. And I also watched the Cat Williams one, which actually is my favorite comedian.
Oh, really?
Oh man, one of the best in my opinion, but we could debate that all day.
I haven't seen stand up live in a while, but
man, that's interesting you say that. I've been trying to go see a show every week. So
oh really?
Yeah.
Is there a good opportunity for that where you are at?
I guess so, because it's been a while. Like I just recently kind of got into it because I've been taking a stand-up comedy class because I've been trying to get more into public speaking, talking in front of people and stuff. So I've been kind of checking out the area. And then I don't know if it was just these recent months, but we've had like somebody decent come like either perform at a big venue or at our local Funny Bone. So I've been kind of just swinging here and there. And like next week, I'm going to go see a show. So it's like
Nice.
pretty fun. And then it's kind of getting me to go outdoors a lot more too. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. We used to. There used to be a convention that Heather and I would go to in New York. We'd always go like to the Comedy Cellar or to places up there and to see people live, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's different than watching. I mean, like you get the vibe, that in-person vibe, which is like so different. Or they may do crowd work and stuff like that
for sure,
which is fun.
I kind of like when I like seeing those different comedians, like where their sets almost different every time they come up there. Some people you see they kind of have like when I say a universal thing of jokes where they kind of use those same jokes everywhere they go, but they hit everywhere they go. So it's just part of their set. You know what I mean? But I like those people where you're like, oh man, I never heard him say that. I like that. So
it's all writing, like this performance,
For
but like
sure.
a lot of that stuff is, like it's all written out, or they may have like the same things, but they happen at different times. It's a lot of memorization, and like it looks so hard.
When you talk about writing, it's funny because only person I've ever thought about that to me has like probably the best writing in comedy is probably I don't know if you know him, but Jim Gaffigan. I think he is amazing when it comes to writing, because I feel like almost every joke you can do in any of his specials, you can damn near do them at any time because they're just greatly written. Like they're just good.
Yeah. They touch on a kind of a shared experience, and also he works pretty clean too. So you could tell your mother some of his jokes,
for sure.
Maybe not Cat Williams, but.
But we're gonna go ahead and jump right into our interview. For my first question, I want to ask you, one of the main reasons I kind of wanted to bring you on was to kind of ask you about your experience working on Spy X Family. You kind of talked about it a little bit earlier, where you play one of the main members of the Forger family.
Yeah. How
did that opportunity come about, and do you have any favorite scenes from the show?
I was the script writer for Spy Family.
Okay. So you kind of slid that in there.
I was already part of the crew. I really loved the show. I mean, it's got this kind of being a child of the 80s, 70s, and 80s and stuff. I lived through like a lot of the Cold War period, and so that kind of setting was somewhat familiar to me. And so that I really liked the show and the whole secrets we keep and the facade and everything that we kind of talk about in the opening narration. But when Bond came up, I was talking to Chris George, the director, who had also been my engineer when I was a director. Like, so we had a good working relationship. We played music together. We played a couple of cons, being Todd Habercorn's backing band, where Chris is on guitar or bass and I'm on drums. So and I guess I know how to beg like a good puppy. So I asked him for the role, and then I had, made some dog noises and some Bond sounds and stuff. And that's kind of how that happened. But I was so pleased that he let me do that, or that he indulged me in that way, because Bond that's the best gig I've ever gotten. I mean, I absolutely love it. If you could told 10-year-old me that I could be paid and like flown across the country to make dog noises, like I wouldn't have believed you, but now that's part of it.
Happening.
Yeah. And so the typical session for that is like 10 to 15 minutes. Although for the movie, that was about a 3-hour session to get all the not dialogue, to get all the all my stuff recorded was about 2.5 to 3 hours. So that was pretty intensive. But usually, like when I go in there to record, I've just finished the script. Like sometimes, like even like you know, like
So you're still actively writing on doing the scripts?
Yeah, when they come out, like, you know, last season, you know, I'm up at work 2 or 3 days a week at the studio at Crunchyroll writing, and you know, I would just stay a little bit after my work day and go in there and record. And so I'd always knew what I was reacting to. I think my favorite, if we're going to keep it Bond related, my favorite one is that, of course, that Bond episode where they sneak in to the lab. But when he and Lloyd sneak into the lab, but what's really funny about it is when like he thinks of like his idea of what Lloyd does is like Lloyd goes and like hunts with his like bare hands or with a spear, and that's like his like provider thing. So like seeing it, like his mind work was, I think, was pretty interesting to me. And of course I love dogs. We have 2 dogs of our own. And we've always had dogs, and so I can think about some of the sounds that they make and try to think about like, oh, how would, you know, Bayou, our well, Pitbull, how would she have done this line, you know, and just kind of think of some sounds that she's made. And it's just like a lovable character. It's a great cameo, and like, I mean, he's so like, and he's like, you know, big cute dog, and I know it's just such a wholesome thing. And like, that's one of the things that people really love about Spy Family is that there's action and there's intrigue and there's this and that, but there's also just like this kind of this core like wholesomeness to it, which I think, you know, the world can be a kind of a dark place. And so seeing some of these nice little things happen in this connection with the family is always very good, I think, for people to see, and it's very enjoyable.
So when you were looking at this character, what made you say, yeah, I want to voice it?
1, he's a dog.
Okay.
2, he's fluffy.
Okay.
3, I don't know, there's a certain kind of like, especially with doing creatures and animals, there's like a freedom. You're not trying to act like a person, you know.
For sure.
You're not trying to sound smart or funny or scary or whatever. Like, you're just like kind of being in the moment. And
this is not your first time playing an animal or anything. I've seen you a few other animals and stuff like that. So do you find that kind of interesting to play an animal?
Yeah. Heather and I both she's played plenty of animals, and like in the first several seasons of Fairy Tale, like we were like every creature. So if it roared or shrieked or warbled or whatever, that was us, you know. Playing, you know, big giant, you know, scary trees, or playing like a school of dolphins or birds, or, you know, whatever the hell, you know. It's just like it's freeing. You know, it's like just pure, like, you're not like thinking about like pronunciations. You're not thinking about like, you're just in the moment doing it, you know, and you're just responding and trying to use different parts of your voice and your instrument, you know.
For sure. And that's one thing I like to always bring up, that, you know, so many different roles and opportunities in anime. You can literally be an animal, you can be a thing, a cup, anything that can talk, literally. So
yeah. So, and it's like, you know, so I don't know, there's just that freedom that's like playing a non-human, like, and it's not like a monster that talks, it's just something that makes noises. So you're just kind of thinking about like sound, and like, I don't know, it's just a way to change your brain a little bit. And who couldn't benefit from thinking like a dog every now and
then? You know. And for my
got that dog in me is what the problem is. Yeah.
For my next question, I want to ask you is, what do you find most rewarding about being a voice actor?
You know, most rewarding, you know, I just think like seeing like that these are like, these can be important to people, and like you can like really like make someone's day with a good performance, not just, you know, the people you're working with, but the people walking or watching. I've had people write to me, you know, and say like things like, you know, Fairy Tale got them through like the worst part of their life, or, they really like the way that like Gang Orca deals with adversity or something like that. They're real stories that people connect to. Like I'm saying, I'm trapped in this analytical prison trying to figure out what makes it all tick, and someone else is just getting the vibes from it, and to see that happen, and to be like, in a theater when some of these movies come out and you're in a packed theater and everyone's enjoying it and everyone's laughing at the right parts and they're responding. It's just very rewarding to know that you can kind of take someone's mind off their troubles and give them an escape, or help them figure out something, how what's happening in the show can be like kind of analogous to what they're doing. They may feel alone, and like the whole thing is like, you have friends, or you can find friends, or there's other people that are broken that need you, or sometimes the good guys win. There's just a lot of things to entertainment that are like more serious than you would think. We're trying to make somebody feel better, and so it's very gratifying to know. And of course, with dubbing, there's some people that, I've had people that are slightly visually impaired or whatever, and they like to listen to it, and so that's like, oh wow, that's a whole other audience, who needs that, who needs expressive voices and things that they can understand. So I mean, it serves a bigger purpose than just like novelty, or which is also important, but just something to do, just filler.
What do you find least rewarding?
Well, what do I find least rewarding? Like maybe you don't love everything that you work on. Some things, you're just like, okay, for me, especially since, I'm doing this 40, sometimes, back in those writing and directing days, it'd be like 70 hours a week, so the constant working, I think, was, kind of hard on me.
Is this hourly or salary?
Well, one was salary, and then I was also a contractor, so that would be per episode written. So, but like it's, anything that you have to do is different than something you're doing just because you want to do it.
Want to do it,
and that's and like it's a great job, and I'm really, but every job
is
a job at some point, and so but also, if I'm frustrated with something, if I'm not connecting with a character or directing, if I'm not connecting with an actor or something, that can be frustrating, or seeing somebody flail and you can't help them out, or there's just a lot of things to it. So and of course, seeing people, say like, oh, they were terrible in this, it's like, okay, well, I've gotten like, not everybody has loved everything I've done, and some people have, have decided to share that with the group, so, but you can't make everybody happy all the time, and you would drive yourself crazy trying to. Yeah, because you can't be authentic,
Looking at your IMDb, I see that you worked on Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Kai. What does it feel like being a part of those classic series? And do you remember what the experience was like?
Well, that was the first stuff I ever worked on. So like when I started at Funimation, we were doing Dragon Ball GT, and I was recording that. And so I was just like, that's like me getting my feet wet and like seeing like, oh, what the hell is going on, and meeting all these, or getting to know these people and these actors, and back in the day, it's just like everything seemed so much larger than life back then.
I feel you on that.
And it was like I was in a place where creativity and having fun is encouraged, as opposed to a lot of other jobs you may do. I was working at a sign shop before that. You want to get things done right and according to this way, and at this speed. But and I kind of like, I think like, I guess Dragon Ball, when I was involved with it, a lot of the people who were really into it were much younger. They'd watched it like when they were in junior high, high school and stuff. And I was like, I met Chris Sabat when we were both in college together.
Okay.
Vegeta and everybody else in the first Dragon Ball, and Tom Bergmeyer and stuff, who was Tien Shinhan, who also hired me to write later on. But I'd met him at like freshman orientation. So,
wow, that's so interesting.
While doing this stuff, like they were creating that, and I just knew him at the time. You know what I mean? So, but it's cool to see the lasting impact. I mean, when I see, like I said, Goku in the Macy's Day Parade, or you see like the stuff really spread, or you see people referencing it in other cultures, or like you just see it kind of take over and see how it spread, and just knowing that that I was a part of that is pretty interesting. I worked on the original Dragon Ball, and most of that work was going in and cleaning up everyone's audio files. So like not a very glamorous part of the job, but something where I learned a lot, and I really got to know these people's voices. And it was and we've that show just keeps coming back in one form or another. We've had
movies, and it's coming back again.
Yeah, Super and Daima and blah blah and this and that and the other thing. And there's just, it's kind of interesting to see just how far they can expand the world.
For sure.
Yeah.
But my next question I want to ask you is, what emotion do you find hard to portray with just your voice?
Well, I feel,
or even from a director perspective.
I feel for me, like, as a performer, doing something that's very like dark or serious is a little tougher for me. I feel like my voice doesn't really lend itself to that, unless I'm really doing something like Gang Orca, where it's just this tough voice, and a lot of it's really projected. But doing the kind of soft, vulnerable stuff is hard, and that's that seems to be true for a lot of people. I think like the hardest thing as an actor or a director is when your character that you've established a certain way, when they have something different. Like, say, your tough guy who's always, angry and like standoffish and everything, whenever he's crying or whatever, like that is very tough. Or whenever the stern person like kind of breaks out and starts to laugh and blah, blah, blah. Those kind of changes can be hard. And sometimes, like as a director, when you're auditioning people and listening for people, sometimes you kind of hear them in this kind of narrow band, right? And like they're like amazing doing this thing, right? And then when you break it out, it can be a lot harder to find where the character still exists as to what you built into it. It's like, oh, this person's more complicated than I thought. Like, how can I find the emotional connection to them? Or they do something that's terrible, and it's like, oh, like that's not me, or is that them? But yeah, any kind of shift like that is hard to do, I think.
So basically, if you were coming in to do like a funny character, but then the next thing you got to do something sad or depressing, that switch can be like, I can see. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and even I I'd like feel like I was like living in the booth for years. Like even I get sometimes I get nervous when I get in there. Like my mouth goes dry, I get a little jittery and all that kind of stuff. And so sometimes finding that connection and kind of taking yourself out of it is what's tough.
Do you feel like you have like performance anxiety or something like?
I don't know what it is.
Okay.
I don't know what it is. I mean, I guess I see my strong suit and
that's like if you were to go right now and do a recording right now, you will feel anxiety.
Maybe. I mean, but there's also the excitement of it.
Okay.
Not so much for Bond, but like if it's something that I really have to, when you're really kind of wanting to get into an emotional position, where
Is
you
it
want.
more of I want to do it right type of thing, not
Yeah,
like I'm
yeah.
afraid type of thing?
No, we want to do it right, and you want to make someone feel something, Like it's
Okay.
hard, like I try to strive for, like to do the best job possible. And sometimes it's like, is it me that's even the best person for this, Because being a director, I saw so much amazing talent, and it's like, it's different when I say this and like someone like he's always my example right now, but seeing someone like Ray Hurd say something, he's got this super deep, just really just liquid velvet voice, and I don't, so so it's like, oh, if he said that, that's kind of why it's one of the cool things about being a writer or being a director is you can assemble all these people and you can like get the best from everyone, and you can, they're your color palette,
I see what you're saying, and it's funny you bring up Ray Harris because we've had him on, and he has a very nice, loud, boisterous voice. So
yeah, he's just
that.
so deep and so smooth, and he's great to work with. And he was I brought him in on Fairy Tale several years ago, and I'm very glad I did. Yeah, I looked at y'all's guest list a little bit, and saw who y'all had. And, some of my favorites, some people I haven't worked with, and a lot of people that I have.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad you checked me out a little bit. We talked about it a little bit. My Hero Academia, where you play Gang Orca.
Yeah.
So can you explain what that character means to you, and how do you feel about being part of that series, which just recently ended?
Yeah, I know. And now they're doing Vigilantes. And he was in Vigilantes, and I was so glad to see him come back. He only had like 3 lines. The thing about Gang Orca is that he's like this pivotal character. He comes in and does something usually big, but then he disappears for the rest of the season. So like he comes in for the exam, right? And the heroes training back in, what is it, season 2 or 3? And that's like a pivotal thing, but that's like his whole involvement in the series up to then, and then he doesn't come back until the next year. So trying to like kind of connect and find out, because meeting the fans and stuff, I'm interested in what people like about him, because people are like, oh, he's my favorite character, and it's like, well, like, what do you, why, what does he do that someone else does? And I think, he's got that tough love thing, and he demonstrates that he cares kind of by being hard on you, whether he means to or not. So he's like this authority figure that comes in and kind of yells at you and whips you into shape, and gives you that tough love. And his character design is so cool too.
For sure. I love his character.
Yeah, and he's got like, he's the whole, and he's from the, I can't remember what's the title of the manga before My Hero that the mangaka did, but he was part of that one. It was like something Zoo, but he was from that first series, so he was also like a legacy character, which I thought.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
And so it's a lot of volume. And Colleen cast me in that, and I've worked with her a lot over the years. She was Urza in Fairy Tale, and we've done a lot together with me directing her, and also I engineered for her as a director, and so having her call me in, was really made me feel great, of course, and we all like to be in the booth, and I've had the fortune with him. To where he got 2 pops.
Gang Orca.
So he's got 2 different pops, and it's kind of cool to have that, like, because it's been a long time since, I was in the business a long time before I had anything like that.
That's funny you bring that up, because I had the guy from Spy X Family that plays Frankly. And
yeah.
He was bringing up the fact that about pops, and that your character had 2, and he still, I think, only had 1 or not had 1 yet. And I thought that was funny. I was like, he was like, how does the dog have?
yeah. Bond got 1, yeah. But I love Anthony. He's great. But yeah, I mean, it's it's interesting to see what people like about it. Besides the character design, but we did this con several years in a row in Minneapolis, and there is this artist there that we met. He had a cool like Natsu from Fairy Tail, and I went and talked to him. And of course Heather was with me, and she's like, "Oh, he directed that. He's the Fairy Tail guy." So anyway, we started talking, and she commissioned from him. His name is Monaco Arts. His name is Avery Walker, is the artist. But she commissioned a print of Gang Orca, and it just looks so cool. And I had it out on my table, and like this family comes up, and like it's like the kids and like their old grandmas with them. And she's like looking at this Gang Orca, and she's like looking at him real hard. And the kids walk away, and she's like, "That one's got some BDE." And I just died. And it's like, that's why people love Gang Orca.
Oh, that's funny.
Don't have to go to Avery, of course.
Oh, moving on to my next question, I want to ask you basically, is there anyone you want to shout out for being a good support system for you over the years that's basically helped you get to where you're at, and how having a support system has helped you get to where you're at?
Oh man, there's been like so many over the years. Like, you meet and you really you get emotional with people, and you share things with people, and you get to see their vulnerabilities, and we've cried together, people in the booth, and all that kind of stuff. And I really felt like being this is like kind of backwards. I'll get to answer it the right way first, but kind of a backwards way, that I was able to do was, by casting people, especially people who were new on the scene or whatever, knowing that like that belief in somebody is like a real power, and feeling somebody believe in you, and someone saying like, "Okay, I trust you with this role, and I know you're gonna be great at it. And if you have any problems, I'm gonna help you through. We're gonna get through this together." And like seeing that, and from my perspective as a director, has been, that's so much of it is like that. Your people are successful, you're happy for them, all that kind of stuff. I think, of course, Heather, my wife, has been, a huge supporter, and she's been a collaborator in a lot of things. I, worked with her when I was directing, and she was voice acting, and we did all kinds of stuff together, and we played all the monsters, and she did characters. She had a character that I didn't even like in Fairy Tail, and that she convinced me she was like, "Well, I'd see her as, this, that, and the other thing." And I said, "Well, okay, prove it." And now, of course, she works with me as a writer, and so she's a great source of perspective and inspiration. And also, I want to give up to my friend Jose Sandoval, who's an engineer there, and he was my engineer for a couple of years, and I stepped down from directing to write, and he brought me into his workshop series at hello-vo.com, and we give workshops and classes, and we make demos and stuff. But him approaching me and gassing me up before the workshops and all that stuff has been very important. I just came off of one of the, we did 2 of those this weekend. So maybe that's why I'm a little more talkative. A lot of this stuff has come up recently. But his belief in me has been is pretty great. And of course, there's people like Mike McFarland, who I worked with from the beginning, and Justin Cook, who've helped me has given me opportunities and good advice.
Okay. We're winding down to our last 3 questions.
All right.
Well, my next question I want to ask you is, what do you consider your best vocal performance, and what do you consider your worst, or one that you wish you could redo that you're not too fond of?
Oh man, I'm not giving anybody any ammunition out there. No, I think, I don't know. Gang Orca, like I am the voice, but that's got some digital pitch shifting on it, so it's a little lower than I'm actually doing it. So we're bringing up some of the low end. I mean, I love playing Bond, like I said, and I feel like I've done a service to not only to the show, but to the original performance, because I take some cues from the voice actor in the Japanese, and I don't want to have something completely different. And I've liked some of these kind of fly under the radar shows. I just saw that Toriko is on Netflix, which is a show that I loved doing. I played a recurring guy in there with my good friend Kyle Phillips.
Okay.
He was my engineer. I was his director, and we played like a team. These two guys who were Brian Massey's lackeys.
He's in My Hero too.
Oh, he certainly is. Yeah. He's Denki Kaminari, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he's actually like, I want to give a shout out to him too, because we've worked together outside of this, and he's very fun, and he's been a great friend and colleague over the years.
Sure.
And I was just on his show with Leah. They do a watch through of My Hero, and so I was on the Gang Orca when he gets revealed episode. But and as far as I don't know, I think like there's this show called Sarazanmai, where I played this kappa, like little creature, and like I did a different thing than the Japanese did for the voice, and that was a little polarizing. Some people liked it and some people didn't. I stand by my performance because I thought I had my certain reasons for doing the voice the way I did. But sometimes, especially if a show gets seen in its Japanese form and gets some notoriety, like that becomes like kind of the
tone people are
expecting. Yeah. So that's why like day and date dubs that we do are so nice, because someone doesn't have to make the decision whether they're going to watch the Japanese or the English on a delayed schedule, or they're going to watch both or whatever, and your first experience can be in your native language. I think that really helps people connect with it. But yeah, that show, like, I don't know if I would have done anything different, but I think I learned some stuff about breath control on that show that I wish I had known from the beginning of it, because he was a very difficult character to kind of get out. But yeah, I mean, I stand by my performances.
Do you think anyone that you
I don't
wish
watch
you could
them
redo?
over again if I can, but anyone redo?
You wish you could go back, like learning everything you've learned now? This could probably be some of your first projects. Like, if I could go back and redo some of them Dragon Ball bits, I would.
Yeah, I think like there's a show that I did with Kyle called End Ride that I played like a kind of feminine, kind of magical character, and I think I could have been a little more nuanced with that and like knowing a little bit more. But I don't know. I don't feel like
critiquing.
I can't go back and do them, and so all I can do is move forward and try not to regret any learning experiences I've had along the way.
For sure, I can agree with that. Okay, for my next question, I want to ask you is, what are some common misconceptions that you hear people have about voice acting?
One, that anyone can do it, and that it's just talking. Really, I mean, you have the character, right? And you can see the character, but like there's voice actors that you can see the character just from them talking. That they've fleshed it out. They've thought about how the character not only like looks, how they're built, how they carry themselves, like what they may be going on with. And some people are very good at connecting that physicality and channeling it into something that makes the most sense. If it's like just like your typical like slice of life, schoolboy character. I mean, it's a little different, but being able to kind of paint a picture with your voice is very tough. Yeah. And knowing the right kind of texture, the right kind of pitch, how to convey your emotional beats through inflection, how to control your breath. I mean, there's a lot, and there's a big physical aspect to it. like not running out of breath the whole time, or like, sounding like you're moving around when you're just sitting there, like I'm going down a cobblestone road, or I'm running or doing all that kind of stuff. There's all this stuff. And then, so that's tough to kind of embody that. And then just to take like, in a session, resilience is very important, and a lot of people, doing something over and over and over and over again, and maybe not getting it right or perfect until the last time can be kind of tough.
Yeah.
You spend a lot more time with your mistakes in this way. So you couldn't say, we were working together and we had a line that was like, whatever the line is, and you stumbled over a word or whatever, and we kept doing that. And then the next line you just zoom through, no problems. Which one are you going to be thinking about afterwards? Are you going to think about the one you nailed, or you think about the one that took 3 or 4 takes? So there's so a lot of people think that they can do it, and that anyone can do it, and it's a lot more difficult than you would think, and it takes like a whole team of people to make this look and sound at the best as it could possibly be.
For sure. And for my final question, I want to ask you, what are your remaining goals or aspirations within the field of anime?
I want to play more dogs.
Oh, okay.
I want to play more. It's just like the. I think one of my goals is to kind of get over, like I said, about like auditioning and stuff. I'm like kind of drag my feet on that kind of stuff, and maybe get into that a little bit more, and take a little more charge of my own.
Is this more live action or?
No, it's voiceover.
Okay.
I see things and I'm like, oh, they're gonna cast so and so because they're so much better than me. I don't know if that helps anything, but also I don't want to waste anyone's time. And of course, I want to rise within the company. I've been with this company through a lot of different ownerships and a lot of different management and stuff over the years, and I've learned a lot about the business. And of course, I want to rise within that kind of salary structure as well. But I would love to just have more roles, have some more comedic roles, to yell more and get some of that stuff out, because like some of that stuff, the big action stuff is very cathartic. You get to scream, you get to like let stuff out, and it's pretty fun.
For sure. Get to enjoy the whole experience of it. I can understand that.
Yeah. And meet more people in the business and all that kind of stuff. It's all it's all just part of the rich experience of life.
For sure. Well, that wraps up most of the questions I have. Is there anything else you wanted to discuss before we wrap up?
I think that's kind of it. Like, right now we're into the last section of Dr. Stone. I just finished Fire Force, which was a big show for me. I wrote the last 2 seasons of that, and I also voiced another animal, Scop the talking mole, who was robbed in this last part. But I had a big episode in the first core of the 3rd season. But it's always bittersweet to see these big projects coming to a close. With Dr. Stone, we're at the end of ended Fairy Tale. We've got the sequel series, but that's kind of been a little bit slow to develop. And I'm still here, and I'm ready to. It's an exciting field, and there's a lot of kind of new stuff. Everything is like new every season, so and I like seeing people come up and just everything about it.
I think it's interesting that now we starting to have this wave of animes that's starting to end. Well, like back in that day, it seemed like nothing really ended. Now it's like everything is having a date, in which I think it's good, because a lot of these stories you never get the ending because something happens to the author or something like that. So I think it's good when you're able to end your story on your terms, type of thing. So
look at One Piece.
Well, he's been lucky. I will give him his props. He's been very lucky, and hopefully he's able to end his project the way he wants to.
Oda, I remember it was like 800 something episodes, and he's like, we're about halfway through. So So they're not, there's extending it because you're still excited about the world and all the stuff that can happen, and then there's like kind of extending it just for the sake of keeping on doing it. And like as long as they don't really cross that line, I just think like the stories have remained fresh and all that. So
he's been doing pretty good.
Yeah.
And just the ability to create storylines from the beginning of the story and then make those hit at the end of the story.
Yeah.
He's been really good at that. I'll give him his props right there. Where it's
having that wide view is just incredible. Like seeing something like fall into place like a decade later, And
you're like, man, did he have this all planned out? Which he said he does. He has the ending and everything done. I do feel like he's had to improvise some bits and pieces, but I'll give him his props. He's amazing.
Really. Oh yeah.
But with that basically wraps up our discussion.
All right.
Before we go, I just want to thank you for all your amazing work and bringing some of our favorite characters to life, and for also coming on.
All right, thank you so much, and appreciate talking to you and meeting you. And I don't know, it's been fun. I appreciate it.
And with that, we end today's episode. I want to thank my guests for coming on and chatting it up with me. I've had a lot of fun and learned so much more about the industry of voice acting, and hopefully you listeners did too. Before we close out, I just want to allow my guests the opportunity to plug themselves, basically tell the audience where they can find you.
Man, I have been so offline this year. I don't know what it is, but you can find me on like Instagram or actually I deactivated my X this year or Twitter this year. And I will be at a couple of cons this year. I'm doing Ancient City Con in St. Augustine this fall, St. Augustine, Florida, and I've got Anime Midwest in July. And of course, check out Odelatron, my old band. I've got another one that we're working on right now, but we don't have anything out yet.
Okay, if y'all do get anything out, you gotta let me know.
All right.
I'm gonna go ahead and have all his links and stuff below. If you guys want to reach out to him and let him know how you feel about any of his roles or any of the animes that he's directed, you can go ahead and reach out to him. And with that, I just want to say peace.